Hi, everybody. Welcome to Blessed to Crochet and the Lifeboat. I hope everybody is doing well. Let's kind of welcome some people in on this Tuesday. Welcome Zola and Tommy Bird and Sandy Wandy, Shades of Gray, Nicole E. So welcome. I hope everybody is doing well, and I hope everybody kind of brought their thinking caps a little bit today. I kind of was debating a little bit of what to kind of do today. What topic did I want to talk about? And I kind of realized through a session with my therapist, hi, live and living, and Katie, welcome to the Lifeboat and Blessed to Crochet. And I realized that I've kind of been in a little bit of a funk. And that funk, if we want to call it, or being down, or whatever you would like to call it, I realized as I was talking to my therapist, what is the reason for it? Hi, Seventh. Hi, Daniel. Or Daniel. Or Danelle. I'm sorry if I've said that the wrong way. I probably have. Um, Welcome, everybody. And I just sat there going, what is kind of going on with me a little bit? And I realized that it is my birthday month this month. And I'm kind of going, I'm getting a little older. We know how that goes, right? But it's also my dad's, it is the third anniversary with Father's Day rolling around. My birthday is on the 18th. Father's Day usually falls somewhere around there. And this will be the third Father's Day without him. In the process of that, my husband has officially adopted our adult daughter. And it kind of was sitting there going, kind of bringing some of those emotions back. And it kind of clicked it all together. And I was like, God, now I know what's going on. I know why I'm feeling the way it is. It was like a light bulb came on. And that's where I kind of got the idea of, well, let's start thinking of ways that we can boost our mental well being. I don't think we realize how important that is. And coming off of Mental Health Month, which was in May, I think it's a really good idea to be able to do that. So that's where I kind of came across with this topic, and I hope that you'll come with kind of some suggestions of your own that you can give us, because I think as much as um, we journal, and we need to journal, this is something that can be added to your journal. You could come up with a lot of different kind of things that you could do in order to boost your mental health. For instance, today my husband and I had every intention of getting up and going to uh, the 9 o'clock at the gym, at the YMCA, and going in the pool. Well, he woke up at 6:30 with a sugar low, and we ended up having to make other plans. He woke up in a sugar low, got him his sandwich. It was 6:30. I can go back to bed for another hour and wake up at 7:30 and have my coffee. Well, the alarm didn't go off, right? And guess what? It's 8:40, and there was no time to make the class at 9 o'clock. But it didn't mean that I didn't take the time, and we didn't take the time to say, you know what, we can still do this. So we went to the Y at 12 o'clock. That's kind of why my hair is a little wet, because I just came back from the pool a little bit ago. And we went, and we still went swimming and moving around and getting going, because I know that I've got to find things that I can do that can kind of get me out of this. Well, can just June just kind of slide by, and we get to July, and my husband and I would like for it to be really cold. So just get back into November real quick. And Tommy Bird says, I love gardening. Some days I can't do it because of the diabetes. I totally get it, but you still enjoy it. You know, I found this quote and I really, really liked it. And I think it's where we need to start off with. We know that Admiral has a great passion for clocks and watches, and he does them and he repairs them. And sometimes, whether or not, hi Lydia, whether or not you have a new clock or no clock, sometimes it needs to be tweaked. Sometimes the batteries need to be changed. And I'm sure if he has the older style clocks, those have to be updated and changed and fixed. And he has these little tools and he goes in his little toolbox and he pulls them out. These are things you need to have in your toolbox so you can reach in when you're kind of in a funk. But here's something to remember, and that is this. That I just thought this quote was so fitting because sometimes we can often beat ourselves up. The most beautiful people we have known are those who have been defeated, knowing suffering, knowing struggle, knowing loss, and have found their way out of the depths. These persons have an appreciation and a sensitivity and understanding of life that fills them with compassion and generosity and deep love and concern. Beautiful people don't just happen. Isn't that, I love that when I found that today. I thought, oh my goodness, that's beautifully said. Beautiful people don't just happen, they're made. Done in their lives, and they're often made. So I just thought that was just a beautiful quote, and I think it's a great way to start off this. So if you have any suggestions, please drop them in the chat. This was from the Mental Health America, and there was just 31 tips here. But I think we could do even more tips. I think that it'd be a great, maybe possible addition to add to the little things getting you starting with the journaling happening. Just little things that you can do. And the first one is take gratitude and achieve with a journal. First one. I don't know how many times I have done things like this. And one of the first things that comes out of it is journal. If you cannot write because of a handicap, get in and go ahead and do it by messenger, speak it into messenger, do it by email, type it in, voice it in, find a way to journal. But when you're journaling, also put down the appreciation things that you would like, that you maybe appreciate. And it can be as simple as the sunshine today. It can be very, very simple. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can be very, very simple. It can be as simple as, just, the sunshine today. I was able to go out and sit outside. Try to find things that you can be appreciative. Hi, Allison. Appreciative of, of your, whatever the situation is that you're going through. Danielle says, my suggestion is what am I doing goes along with what you did today. Swimming, exercise, go for a walk, work out, some form of movement. Absolutely. But in your journal, don't forget to put things that you are happy about, things that you are liking, things that you can sit back going, I'm appreciative of that. The second thing, now for me, I know I start my day with a cup of coffee, and I often start my day with a cup of coffee. Hi, Ellie. I start my day with a cup of coffee, and I start my day with the lifeboat often. And so I'm going to drop the lifeboat for my people over here in Blessed to Crochet so they can go over and subscribe because that is an awesome channel. And I will start off with the boat with my cup of coffee. And I don't want to talk to anybody. Sometimes I'll pull out my crochet hook. I want my cup of coffee. I want my hour. My body doesn't always get out of bed going, here I am. It goes out of bed going, you want to move? Well, we're going to do this slow. I got to oil my joints. That's part of fibromyalgia, just stiff, and it takes me a while to get up. And when I don't do that, when I don't have that, leave me alone till I finish my coffee and I've done this, I find myself kind of going, what is the next morning? I can just do that when I don't have that. That's something that I find helps me mentally. If you don't like coffee, maybe have some green tea, maybe have an iced tea, whatever you need to do in the morning, if that's the way you start your day. Maybe making your bed is the way you start your day. Doing something in order to start your day on a positive note. And I know when I don't start my day that way, I'm craving it not too far into several days, and I don't really have that, and I purposely don't do it because I find myself more sore the next day when I don't have time to warm my body up and have that time, but I treasure that time. Set up a gateway. It could be camping with a friend or trip to the tropics. I know that we can't always think financially about going on trips. But you know what? It can be as simple as we don't live very far from the Amish country. And my husband and I tremendously enjoy going down to the Amish country and just going and looking at all the shops and all the stuff, and love to go down there, especially in the fall when the leaves are changing. That's local. And a gateway does not have to mean that you need to get into a train or a plane or anything. It could be as simple as going to your local park, going and setting up a chair, sitting down, reading a book, reading a book, or going to reading a book, or being able to have, maybe bringing your crochet hook with you or what have you, whatever it is. And Allison, I know that you're saying that you missed it live, but the replay, sometimes I have too. On Sunday mornings, I'm off to church and I don't get an opportunity, but I will sit and watch the replay of it. So watching the replay of it, and that's where kind of too, Allison, finding live content. It's why these ripples are so important, because we are able, a lot of them are live content form. And you can find live content and you can interact with them. And then when you're going into the channels that are ripples, you are going into the channels, right? That, yes, absolutely. Mods are great. We love them. When you're going into those channels, it's like going into a party. Back to cross stitch. That's another great thing, Allison. But when you go into a party, what are we looking for? We're looking for a friend, aren't we? Well, when you go into some of these channels that are rippling off of each other, you go in and you see Sandy Wendy, and you see Krista Melinda, and you see Tommy Bird, and you see some of these people that you know. And so it becomes a great social ability to have. So that is something that just to think of. If you haven't subscribed to the ripples when they're getting dropped in the lifeboat, just check out and make sure that you are, and get in with them too as well when they're doing live forms, because it's really, really beneficial. I think it's just, connection is so, so important. Working with your strengths, doing something that is good to build your self-confidence. I love crocheting blankets. It is my strong suit. Making amigurumis, I appreciate the people that make it. And for those that don't know, they're usually like dolls and so forth, or making hats and all that. That's just not my strong suit. It's not where I flourish at all. People have seen, even though they love him and I can't get rid of him, they've seen my attempt at the floppy trophy. It's okay, but it's not my favorite thing to do. But everybody loved him. He's floppy and he's cute, so he's a floppy trophy. But it's not my strong suit. And when I look at something like that, and then I do a beautiful blanket, I kind of sit there and I get more confident about myself and my skills when I do a blanket. So if I'm going to choose to do something in my strengths when it comes to crochet, I'm going to always gravitate towards a blanket. So don't frustrate yourself to try to sit there and make something that's frustrating. to you. Do something that you totally enjoy and that's your strength. And also another thing is sleeping. I've heard this. Sleeping in a cool environment. Our house is, my husband always runs warm, but I've heard that where if you sleep, if you can and you like that, sleep in a little bit cool environment can actually also be very beneficial into sleep, because sleep is so important. Find the way that you best sleep and what schedule you need, because it's part of good mental health. And I love this saying, you don't have to see the whole staircase to just take the first step. Isn't that awesome? You don't have to see the first step or the whole staircase to take the first step. You just have to take that first step into the right direction. And that was by Martin Luther King Jr. Think of something in your life you want to improve and figure out a way you can take the first step in that direction. For instance, I'm really trying to work on just getting enough water in. And if I try to add too many things in that, I'm going to get myself, it's too overwhelming and to stop everything. So try to focus on that first step and making that first change, and then go to the next step. Don't try to take the whole staircase all at once. Take it little bit by little bit. And that is very good. Experiment. How often have we fixed the same kind of recipe the same way all the time? Right? So, for instance, I've put a couple recipes on our channel. And you know what? I've told people, please make this your own. If you don't like, somebody says, well, I don't like peas. Well, if you don't like peas, put in green beans. You don't have to do it the way that we did it. I'm giving you something to start with. Add what you want. Do what you want. If you'd rather not have meat in the egg pie, put spinach in it. But sometimes we go, we're having that same recipe again. Change it up. Add something different. Take something out. Rearrange it. Go on the internet. Find a different way to make a tuna casserole. Experiment with something. Don't have it the same old thing all the time. Hi, Gail. Showing some love to someone in your life. Boy, oh boy, do we not do that enough, I don't think. I think we tend to often be more critical than we can sit there and be loving to somebody. There's a quote that I found recently that kind of is very fitting to this. And I use this on what I call now Lighthouse Mondays. And that's an opportunity. People come in. We show pictures of lighthouses, pre-recorded video. But the importance of that is to be able to really have those connections with everybody, to connect with people in the chat. And I love this. When you have a friend who's going through a personal storm, instead of being a weatherman and spreading the news, try bringing an umbrella and covering them with love. We sometimes just need to be there. We need to show somebody that we care, and we need to show somebody that they are loved and that we appreciate them. And I just loved that quote. I thought it was just so perfect. And I hope you will join us for Lighthouse Mondays, because it really is going to grow into something that I think is going to be very special, because the magic happens within the chat, y'all. It really does. You are the most important part of Blessed to Crochet, as well as the lifeboat. It says, I used to have the windows open when we lived the windows open in the winter. We lived by the woods, and I had our bed air dried in the woods, in that wood smell, amazing for sleep. In the winter, I will open my window too as well. And I find that that's just, it brings in that crisp air. It's nice and refreshing. Boost brain power by treating yourself to a couple pieces of dark chocolate every few days. Now, this can be difficult if somebody is struggling with food addiction. I know for myself, it doesn't, but I did recently go to the store and buy a little bag of chocolate chips. And I just put them in the pantry, and I would just take out about 2 tablespoons of chocolate chips, and I would put them, and they would be dark chocolate, in a little napkin. And I would have that. Hi, Brazy girl. I would have that. And you know what? It did. I had that on hand because if I could mix Coke and chocolate, that usually helps the migraine. I don't know why. But I did find that if I just did that every couple of days, it just there was something about that. I felt like I got a little treat, but I felt like it was kind of healthy, but I just allowed myself 2 tablespoons, and it wasn't something that I was craving to go back to. Now, if you put a gallon of mint chocolate chip ice cream in the refrigerator, this girl's all over that. But I wasn't continuously thinking about it in the pantry. But every couple of days, I would go and I would just treat myself to a little bit of chocolate chips, just measure out 2 tablespoons, and that was all I could have. You know, they say, hi, Fairbrook Studio, they say, and it is, yeah, it's the caffeine. If you have trouble with that, go to your local ice cream shop, right? Go pick out, um, go pick out, have your ice cream there. Do not bring the gallon of thing home with you. Go enjoy it, be done with it, and you're done. Go stop by McDonald's and get a cone, and then you don't have it in the house. But sometimes we need those little treats. It's just something about it. And Allison says that she has a handful of dark chocolate M&Ms and Mexican Coca-Cola almost every evening. It's just a little something. It's just a little something. I'll have to check out those dark chocolate chips. There is not a there is no great agony than bearing an untold story inside of yourself. How often on this channel do we say, let's not suffer in silence? Nobody needs to suffer in silence here. I don't want anybody doing that here, and I don't want to see it on the lifeboat either. That's a little mama bear of me coming out. Nobody needs to suffer in silence. That's one of the reasons why we kind of started Lighthouse Monday, because I wanted people to come in there. And what I'm finding out through that is people really have lost the ability to understand how to connect with each other. It's just kind of like, how do we do this thing we call connection again? And it's amazing to start seeing it, and I'm kind of trying to help facilitate it, but I want people to start doing it. And it's kind of like, how do we, well, hello, and then when you get past hello, how do you get further? And I even went in and I said last night in our Lighthouse Monday, I said, kind of having a difficult month. I'm struggling this month because it's the passing of my dad. It's Father's Day coming up this month, and I'm struggling, and I realized what it was. And so let's not suffer in silence. Let's have a place to come to and talk to each other and tell people when we're struggling, because if we can talk about it and somebody else can lift us up, it is mentally good for us to help somebody else. And Shades of Gray says, mine is a bowl of cereal. If it does not matter what kind of it, I love it all. Oh, when I was going over to my grandmother, when I used to go out to my grandmother's house or go over and spend the night, we used to have a bowl of cereal at night. Every once in a while, I have to have some cereal at night. It's just kind of that remembrance of it. And Katie, it is. But the fact that you just said that, the fact that if you were lurking and you just said it's hard to put yourself out there, yes, it is. But I'm going to challenge people to put themselves out there. I'm telling you, the connection that you will make by doing that is going to be tremendous. And so I really, and we're also dropping some amazing, some amazing channels that you can go to and have those live connections to. But I really challenge yourself. If you're lurking and you're struggling with something, this is the place. This is the place here. It's the place in the lifeboat to dump and be there for each other. I get a tub of grandma's vanilla pudding ice in the freezer. I naturally limit myself because I don't do lactose well. It was good, and we had it was great, healthy cola and iced tea. Oh, that's cool. So anyway, don't suffer in silence. Come forward. Let people know you're struggling with something, and that's where people can come in here and start talking and help people through it. Sometimes we don't need to add new activities to get more pleasure. We need to soak in the joys of the ones that we already have. Trying to be optimistic doesn't mean ignoring the ugly slides in life. It just means focusing on the positive as much as possible. So sometimes we have activities that we enjoy doing, but sometimes we need to tweak them a little bit. Yes, Sandy Wandy, I know you miss Herman. Tonight, for those that are here, I will be doing a late night, 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. Um, 12:30 p.m. Eastern time on Blessed to Crochet, and I will be stepping in for my dear friend, and like she's like a sister to me, Kristen. For those that miss the late night chats that Kristen does, I said I'll step in. Well, she's having fun, and she deserves every bit of it. So for those that want to join me tonight, I'm going to just step in and help a friend out, right? Good for our mental health, good for boosting that mental health to make me feel like I'm helping somebody else. But sometimes just adding something, for instance, I have, and I need to do it more. Especially now that the warmer weather has come up, I need to go out and take my crochet out to, we have a little fountain outside, and I can take a chair, and I need to take my crochet, and I can take my crochet, and I can sit and I can watch the fountain and put on some music or put on a YouTube thing and crochet from a different scene. I'm still doing the same activity, but I'm changing the scene behind it. And so that is a really thing, is I'm still doing the same thing, but I'm doing it from a different vantage point. I sit and do it in my room, but sometimes I'll go sit on the couch and we have Mocha, and I'll cuddle with Mocha, and I'll watch a movie with my husband. I'm still doing the same activity, but I'm changing the way I'm doing it. Feeling anxious? Get some adult coloring books. It even says that take a trip down memory lane and doing some coloring. Those adult coloring books are great. Get some of those out and get lost in coloring like we were little kids again. I mean, sometimes I think that we need to go back to being little kids. We need to go back to where it was like easy and we didn't have stress and we didn't have to think of anything. Or just draw. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just do it again. And so that's something to think of. And that goes with even drawing, doing a craft, doing diamond art. And Shades of Gray says, in the last few years, I really lost my inner support group in my life. That is one of the main reasons why I have even come to YouTube, honestly. It's taking a while, but I'm finding my own people. Well, that is awesome. That's what we need to do. Yep. And see, or Allison said, a great idea. Take your craft outside. Good way to get fresh air, even get grounded if you want to have bare feet in the earth. Absolutely. Take a chair. I've always said to my husband, if I could ever find a portable rocking chair when we can, they can be a little bit expensive. And I would like to actually, just sit out and outside and rock and have my crochet hook. But I'm still doing the same activity. I'm just changing the scenery. Take time to laugh. I don't think we laugh enough in life. I really don't. I don't think we laugh. I'm going to drop. She has since passed away, but she was just a tremendous support. Her name is Jeannie Robertson. She is a humorist, clean, and her stories are amazing. And when I was going through, if you go back and watch my 2013 show, I talked about all the things I was going through in 2013, and I found her in 2013. And that was when I started listening to her. And I would purposely go and listen to some of the same stuff over and over again because it was something that was comforting, and I didn't really feel like laughing. And often there was times I didn't laugh, but I just made myself go listen to something that gave me a little bit of a chuckle. And sometimes we need to laugh, and it's okay to laugh, even when we're dealing in the sense of uh, of of difficulty. Yes, yeah, I get it, Brazy. Brings to mind how when we were kids who wanted to grow up so fast, and here we are. Yep, adulting is no fun at times. But even in the sense of grief, I remember when I lost my dad, and we would think of of laughing. And it was like, how can you laugh? But we would think of my dad, and we'd think of a funny story, and, we would actually laugh about it. My dad actually said in our wedding video, I hope you make it to Timbuktu one day. Every time I think of that, I kind of chuckle a little bit. I think of him saying that, and I laugh. So don't forget about taking the time to laugh. Maybe having an opportunity to go off grid. And I think that can always be a factor, but sometimes these wonderful devices that keep us connected can also be a source of a little bit of, sometimes we need to turn these things off. When we went to the pool today, this phone got shut off. Stayed in the car, it got shut off, it did not get brought in, and for half an hour, yes, half an hour, my husband and I talked while we were in the pool, just moving around a little bit, and the phones were off. So sometimes these contraptions, as wonderful of a connection point as they are, they need to get shut off. They need to be put down. Go play a game with somebody. Go outside, listen to music, but just try to sometimes we need to shut them off. Sometimes we need to just let everything just stop with all the noise. And just, we need to do that. Hi, Christmas. Yeah, I like this one. Now for those that don't know it, you probably do know it. I am a big Elvis fan. Sorry. I always will be till the day I leave this world. But you know what? It's oftentimes when I can put on a good Elvis song. I can't dance really much anymore, but I try to a little bit. Often it's chair dancing. But dance around while you're doing your homework or not homework, housework. Do a little bit of dancing, get a little bit of moving, and it just brings a smile to your face. There's nothing wrong with it. You just sitting there and just doing that, and, just having a good old time. And whenever I hear Elvis music, I think of my dad, and I need that. Coming home today from the swimming pool, and my husband's like, "Oh, it's time for Elvis, isn't it?" I go, "Yep, I need my Elvis fix." And there's just something about that. Gail says, I tried to call friends this morning, but no one answered. Keep trying. There's a lot of mental health issues in my family. Pretty sure my immediate family has stayed sane by regular employing our dark and often inappropriate sense of humor. I love that, Allison. But you know what? Dance a little bit. If you can't dance, just do a cheer dance, or just, bop around and so forth. There's something about putting on that music, the things that do it. I know when I was a kid and my mother didn't understand it, she goes, "Mary, how can you work on homework and have music playing?" Well, I could not work on homework without the music playing. And it would be loud, and it would be on, and she had no idea how I absorbed anything. But I absorbed it so much better when the music was playing. Put on your favorite music and just sing along, and good, doesn't have to be fancy, right? If you don't sing, who cares? If it makes you happy, go right ahead. Put an exclamation point, Lydia, in front of the weather, and you'll have it. So go ahead and yawn. I thought that was kind of interesting. Studies show that yawning helps to cool the brain and improves alertness and mental efficiency. So when we yawn, I won't start yawning because then we're all going to start yawning, right? It's contagious. So every once in a while, do a yawn. Wake yourself up a little bit. Oh, that was kind of interesting. Relax in a warm bath once a week if you can do it. Try adding Epsom salts or put in put in your bath bomb, turn on some music, do something if you can get into a bath. Has something been bothering you? Well, let it out on paper. There's journaling again. Right? That's journaling again. Let it out on paper. Get it from here, out. Spending time with a furry friend. Oh boy, yes. I'm sure Admiral Tommy is totally missing Squirrel. But if you don't have a furry friend, then go to your local animal shelter and see if you can volunteer some time with an animal, or if you can and you are going through some financial difficulties and you can't necessarily put in a friend, or you can't have a pet, you can often bring those home. And I know it's hard to think about fostering because then you have to give up the precious dog or the precious cat. I get that. But you are providing a home, and then you can go back and get a new one, and you can start loving that one and give them a chance of life. So you know what? That's an awesome opportunity, to be able to do good for a furry friend. Another thing, there are organizations that will accept crochet items or knitted items that can be donated to local animal shelters. If your friend has an animal, go over and say, can I go love on them? Another really good opportunity is look around to see if your local area has, if you like horses, a horse therapy center that deals with special needs individuals. They need volunteers. It's a great way to get out. It's a great way to get exercise. It's a great way to really help those, because oftentimes you don't think about it, but when they're walking, my daughter did it, and her legs were not long enough to get into the stirrups, but they need somebody to hold the side of the side of the legs, her legs. So it's a great opportunity too to help out. Yes. Swinging occasionally does it too. Get on a local swing and swing. Be a kid for a moment. There is nothing wrong with that. If that helps your mental well-being, do it. That's a great idea. Find a swing. Find a porch swing. There's a guy recently I found, and I forgot, I think Clay Cooper, if I've said it right. And I've watched him a couple times, and I mean, it's okay, Lydia. I mean, he brings these people. He has it's in Branson, Missouri, and he has a swing, and he brings these ladies on these swing, and it is hysterical to watch him talk with these ladies on this swing. I'm going to have to do some reaction videos because it's so funny. And he asked them where they met their husbands and this and that. I mean, it is just a delight to see it. It is so, it's been tickling my little funny bone. I just found it the other day. What lies before us and what lies behind us are small matters compared to what lies within us. And when you bring what is within you into the world, miracles happen. Oh boy, that's a big one. That's a big chunk to think of. So let's break that down. What lies before us and what lies behind us are small matters compared to what lies within us. And when we bring it, and when you bring what is within you out in the world, miracles happen. Think of Tommy. I don't think we need to think of anybody else but Tommy right now. Think of Admiral Tommy. He brought what he had inside to the outer world. And he has brought a community of people together that are connected, that have made friendships, that have a peer support group, and has also provided people with medically assisted treatment. that there is hope, that you can live without being addicted to drugs and alcohol. And those miracles are happening. And that's happening within the chat. That's why we started the Lighthouse Monday, because I wanted people to realize where the miracle and the magic happens. It's not for the person sitting in the chair with the microphone. It's you all. You all are the important people. We're just facilitators. We're content creators, but the magic happens within the chat. That's where the connections lie. That's where the important part is within the chat. And so that's one of the reasons why we have done that. But that's a boy, I'm going to have to do that on a quote, because that's an amazing quote. And Henry David Thoreau said it. So that is that's a big quote. Be a tourist in your own town. That's kind of the same thing. Can't go on a cruise, you can't go on a plane, you can't go this. Go start exploring things in your own town. Things that you don't even know. We went, my husband likes to drive around. And we were driving around, and I thought, I didn't realize there was a bird sanctuary in our town. Go find something. Go get in the car and go, we're going to go here and find this and find that. Just drive around. You'll be very amazed. It's going to give you a different perspective, especially if those ants are coming around. Go do something. Get out of the house. Try preparing your lunches or picking out clothes for the work week. That's a good one. I find out when I have to get up for church on Sunday, I'm really busy trying to get up for church. And then I have all this. If I can get my clothes ready the night before, then it's one less thing I have to think of when I'm trying to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning and be at church at 9 o'clock, 9:30. My clothes are already out. They're done. I don't have to think about it. So that is one other thing to think about doing. Try your local cafes once in a while. That is an absolute awesome thing. Absolutely. And when you go try your local cafe, start trying to find some people to talk to. I think we've forgotten how to connect with people. I really do. I just think that connections, like, what is that silly thing called, the connection? How do we do this whole thing again? So, prepare your lunches ahead of time. You're going to make better choices food-wise if you prepare. Don't go to the store hungry. And if you're dealing with any kind of addiction to food, do not go to the store when you're struggling with something. We have these awesome things called computers and Instacart and all this kind of stuff. Order your groceries online. Order them online. You can order them through Walmart. Go pick them up. You never have to enter the store. But if you know that if you go into your local store, you're going to pick up something you shouldn't have to eat, don't go in it. Don't do it. Do something else that's going to stop you from doing something that you know, if you're going through a hard time, the worst thing that you can do. I know if I'm dealing with something, the worst thing I can do is go into a grocery store, as I know exactly what aisle I'm going on. I'm going right for the sweets. I'm going right for the ice cream. I'm going right for where, for a moment, eating it helps me feel good, but it's not going to help me feel good long term. Connection is going to be the thing that is going to help. Shades of Gray says, I used to be a social butterfly. After everything that's happened, I do not even know how to walk up to a person anymore. I get it. And I think that this is a great place to start. We talked about this in practice, in talking about forgiving others and forgiving yourself. So if you haven't seen those two, go check them out on our channel. Practice forgiveness. Even if it is just forgiving the person who has cut you off during a commute, practice forgiveness. It's amazing that was into helping your mental health. Try finding the silver lining in something, that is going on. Sometimes when calamities happen and when big things happen in our life, it's hard to think about a silver lining. It's hard to think about of how can any good come out of this. But I think that if we can take a moment to look at a silver lining, it can be, it can help. I know for myself, it was like I went through my divorce. What was the silver lining? Well, the silver lining was my daughter. That was the blessing in a very difficult and really difficult time in my life. We have a tradition of drinking tea, which was with a ritual where it is rude to drink less than 3 cups of tea. I love the ritual of slowing down. Absolutely. My mom and I have a cup of tea every afternoon. Every afternoon we have a cup of tea. And I'm looking forward about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Feeling stressed, smile. My husband goes to the mirror, no joke, every day and smiles. And he says, I don't smile for you. I don't smile for anybody else. I smile for myself. I give myself a huge smile. And it helps to make me feel better. So take a moment when you're going by the window and smile. Get on that music and dance a little bit and smile. Smile at somebody. Whenever I see somebody wearing a hat that looks like they served in the military or they have veterans somewhere, I will often say thank you for your service with a huge smile, because that helps me feel better, because it's something that I know I'm honoring my dad that served 28 years, 6 months, and 10 days in the Navy. He knew that verbatim until he couldn't remember it anymore. But, it makes me feel good to smile and say thank you for their service. And they'll often kind of be, what did you just say? Or just saying hi to somebody with a smile, or telling them, oh, that's a beautiful shirt you're wearing today. Or when we go up to a cashier, letting them know, hey, how are you doing today? Doing a smile is tremendous. I'm going to have fun tomorrow. I'm going to a group of people crocheting and knitting at the library. Well, have fun, Lydia. That is awesome. Doing something with friends and family. And if you don't have, there's nothing wrong with making your own family. If you don't have the family you want, start making the family that you want. Start doing it. If you don't have it, make it. So if you're sitting there going, well, I don't have friends and family, I'm an only child. I don't have any sisters and brothers. But boy, I got a ton of them from the lifeboat. I've got several that I consider to me brothers and sisters. So if you don't have a family that you can run, start making those friends and family. And that starts here. It starts stepping out of your community, finding support groups. There's a senior luncheon, the YMCA, once a month. My mom and I go to just to get out. Check out your local church. Check out your local library, check out your local YMCA, maybe start volunteering with some organizations that you can start making connections. There's a wonderful organization within our thing that I will be doing, and my mom's going to be doing it. I think it's called Grand Pal. And all year long, we write letters to a child in the 6th grade in our local community. And we write a letter, they write it back. I'll be probably typing. And they write back and forth. And then in May, we come together with that child that we've written to all year back and forth. It gets them to practice their writing skills, right? And back and forth. And then they have a little pizza party, and you get to meet the child that you've written these letters back and forth with on. I think that's a great idea. Get involved with something like that. Do something. There are places that you can get involved with. Take a 30-minute walk in nature. And listen, if you can't walk, I have trouble walking at times. If you can't walk because of something that, because of, your muscles and all that kind of stuff, that's okay. Do what you can. Do what you can. And if you can't walk, like my husband and I went in the pool today, do something. Send a thank you note. Oh, I think we've forgotten how to do that one too. Haven't we? We've certainly forgotten. That goes back to what I'm going to be doing. We've forgotten how to send a thank you note. Send a thank you note. You can get Dollar Tree little cards at the Dollar Tree. Send a thank you note to a friend. Just tell them how, listen, just want to let you know I'm thinking of you. I think you're great. What's happening? I had to be not fancy, but I think we've forgotten the people getting Happy Mail, people being able to kind of be able to get those just, oh, I got a letter today. And so, go ahead and send a Happy Mail. Now, I'm still collecting, and below in the description is our P.O. box. I am still collecting postcards to anybody that wants to send them to me, and I'm going to be including them in something special for Tommy. So if you still want to, please feel free to send a postcard. Just make sure it's in English, make sure it's positive, and below is our P.O. box. If anybody's still interested in doing that, I'm still collecting them and putting them in my little box over here, and when I get that project done, those cards will be sent right along with that. Do your best to enjoy 15 minutes of sunshine. Again, there's getting the sunshine out. If you can't get the sunshine in, go ahead and make sure you're maybe having some vitamin D, and maybe see if having the doctors check what your vitamin D levels are. Anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. Oh boy. That's another good. Albert Einstein. Try something outside of your comfort zone to make room for adventure and excitement in your life. Anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. Oh boy. Yep. That's a big one. That's a big one. You have to try. You have to try something new. Don't just sit in your little comfort zone. You have to go outside of your comfort zone. And the only way to make that bigger, right, is to step outside of it and make a new comfort zone. Yes, I was practicing what I'm preaching about, grounding and walking around the yard, filling with bird baths and black racer, harmless rat eating snake. I scared each other. That's funny. Here's another thing. I know for me, when it was talking about, about doing certain things, for me, I know dealing with fibromyalgia, this is something that I really like this quote. Sometimes self-care is exercise, eating right. Sometimes it's spending time with loved ones or taking a nap. And sometimes it's watching an entire season of a TV show in one weekend while lounging around in your pajamas, whatever soothes your soul. I actually picked this because this is the only way I was able to see those aurora lights. We tried to look for them and we could not find them for nothing. So for those people that weren't able to see the aurora lights, there you go. I thought I'd get people laughing a little bit. But the point of it is there are days, you should suffer from fibromyalgia too. There's days where, no, I can't exercise. I try to eat right. Spending time with loved ones is huge. Sometimes I feel guilty about having to take a nap. Oh, goodness. I'm like, I got to take a nap. I'm tired. No, don't feel guilty about it. Sometimes I have watched an entire season of a TV show and crocheted. I don't know what I did to my foot on Wednesday. I literally got off the bed and thought, I can't walk. I literally can't walk. And I literally got off the bed and I was on crutches for 2 days. Couldn't put any weight on it. Couldn't really do anything. Then I went for an MRI on Friday. And of course, my back was sore for a couple of days. So what did I do? I spent a lot of time crocheting. I spent a lot of time in really comfy clothes that didn't, were just comfortable. Because when you have fibromyalgia, I knit. When you have fibromyalgia, sometimes even clothes can hurt your skin. And I watched, I think it was My Two Dads. I watched an Elvis movie. I love the movie. What's the movie now? And Walk to Remember. I've seen that I don't know how many times. I love watching that. I love watching that. It's something about it. I love watching the whole season of Benson again, even though I've seen it 3,000 times. The point of it is, if that helps you, if I don't crochet within the day, I go into crochet deprivedness. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to crochet. I can't sit often without crocheting anymore because it helps me take my mind off. And sometimes when you are dealing with chronic pain or any real kind of pain, you need to have those times where you are escaping in a healthy manner. Escaping with drugs and alcohol or food is never healthy. If you are addicted to drugs and alcohol, please reach out to the lifeboat. Do not try to stop cold turkey, please. It literally can be life-threatening. Please reach out. They will be there to help if needed. But finding things that you can do that are healthy is what you need to put in your toolbox. And I honestly think, as I was doing this kind of thing, that's what I'm getting. When I get off of here, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to be watching something and relaxing. What I thought about this when I thought about it, I think we could come up with so many more that are on this list that aren't on this list. I know for me, crochet would be in there. I know for me, Elvis music would be in there. I know for me, connection, and connecting with people and getting out there. For me, it would be going down to the Amish country, spending time with my mom, spending time with my daughter, spending time with my husband, calling a friend, texting a friend, going and just looking around shops sometimes, going out to lunch, going out to dinner. Those are all things that really help with mental well-being. And I can tell you that I came back from the Y today just a little bit more. I kind of wasn't in this funk because I moved around a little bit and I got out of the house and I felt better when I did. And the part I think that is difficult is, okay, once you stop, how do you keep motivated to keep going? When sometimes you don't feel motivated to keep going. And I think that it would, and like Knitting Pearl Squirrel, Granny D, she said having her YouTube channel helps. I grew up in a pagan connection to nature, still having survived in culture where the magic of nature still is present. I need to feel the mud on my feet to feel present every once in a while. We all go out and dance in the rain. My daughter did that one time. She called me up. She goes, "Mom, I'm dancing in the rain." I said, "Go have a bunch of fun. Go dance in the rain." When we're done here, I will play some music on my flute. Not picked it up for a few days. Also makes me feel better. I play the flute too, and my flute needs repairs. I haven't been able to play it, but I enjoy that too. Watching series that I enjoy. Paint pouring is another thing that I enjoy doing. Diamond art is another thing that I enjoy doing. Talking with neighbors, talking with friends, going to church. I think that there's so many things that screaming into the wind. Oh boy, that's a good one. Yep, screaming into your pillow. We can all do that, right? I just think that we could literally come up with 325, a thing for all year round. Shades of Grace says, I play the trumpet. We all just jam together we all should just jam together one day. I love that. I really think of that. And I think that just getting into the chat and starting to pay attention to other people and really realizing how important it is that we care about each other and we care about what's going on and we care about if somebody's really having a struggle or a difficulty. I'm going to tell this story, and yes, it revolves Elvis, but the end part is what I want people to hear. He heard about a woman who had no legs. And they had built her this board with wheels on it. And then she was using these roller skates to kind of get around the house. And Elvis heard about it. He said, well, find out where she lives. I want to get me a wheelchair, best one money could buy. And he always felt more about giving than receiving ever. And kneading bread is another awesome one, magic. And he decided to go deliver this wheelchair. He put it in the back of the car. They delivered it. They took it out, and they knocked on the door. We knocked at the door, and he said to the husband, "I've got something for your wife. Can I give it to her?" And they brought it in the house, and she came around the corner in this little handmade thing that they had made her. They said the house was immaculate. She had raised children. She'd helped raising some grandchildren. And they said the house was just immaculate. And she saw this wheelchair and she started crying. And he said to her, she said, "Can I get into it?" And Elvis picked her up with the bodyguard, put her in this wheelchair, and said, "Ma'am, I don't know a lot about it, but it goes really fast. I'll take you any place you want to go." Well, he gave some money to the husband. He was in tears, and he said, "I got to get out of here." So they left. The part about that story that I want you to understand is he did not bring a camera crew to film it. I have not yet seen any kind of photograph of him standing by this wheelchair. I know the story is true, but about anything about, seeing, there was no pictures taken. But his bodyguard on the way out, as they were standing in the yard, said to Elvis, "I don't think she knew who you were." And this is the phrase I want everybody to hear. It doesn't matter who I am. It matters someone cared about her. Understand that. Everybody here wants to feel like they are cared for. Somebody cares that I'm walking this planet. Somebody cares that I'm living. And let me tell you, the people on our channel and the lifeboat and all these other ripples, we care you are here. We care about your mental health being. We want to help to boost that. And out of all of these tools, they're awesome. And I think we could come up with a lot more amazing ways in order to boost your mental health, things that I wouldn't have even thought of, because we're all different and unique. And that something that works for me may not work for somebody else. But can I encourage every solitary one of you to have connection front and center? If you're lurking, come out of lurking and pop your head up. Let us know that you're here so we can say hello. You can say that we care about you, that we want to be here. If you're struggling with something, do not suffer in silence. If you're going to dump, this is a great place to dump. It's like tonight when I said to Krista and Melinda, I said, what do you think? I could come on my channel and do a late night little chat with everybody. Oh, thank you so much. Well, I'm glad to do it. I'm glad to do it on my channel, and that's what I'm doing. But to me, I feel like I'm helping her, because I know her community is not having that every night. And I will say, last night, I kind of go to bed with that, and I was like, well, she's not on, and I missed it. And so I was like, well, how can I help? What can I do? And she said, that was so sweet. That was so nice. It made me feel like, it just was such a sweet gesture. And I've even said to Captain Calhoun, please message me if your dad, as he's helping race and everything, and you as he's been dealing with some oral surgery, if you all need someone to step in, and they're big shoes to fill, but if you need somebody to step in and come beside you and do a boat slot, I will do it. I'm not a morning person, but I'll do it if need be. Let's ask for help. I think that that's not on there, but I think that it's an extremely important part of having well-rounded mental health. It's not a weakness to ask for help. It's actually a strength. We need to be, it's a strength to be able to say, hey, I need help, please. Can somebody please help me? You accidentally fell asleep listening to Tommy. Yes, he is one of those voices. He is one of those voices. I've done it too. But I'm like, I'll stay up late and help a friend out. I think that we forget what it was like, what it is to go about helping somebody. I had a dear friend of mine. She's since passed away. Her name was, I know her name. It's just right now it's escaping me. It'll come back in just a minute. And she was a sweetheart. And I loved her. And I know it's terrible to sit there and go, and I don't remember her name. And I do. It'll come back. It's just not, it's one of those moments. Oh, well, good job. You're lurking. Good job living for now. Oh, that's awesome. Come out of lurking. Let people know you're here. You're worth it. You're worthy of it. Um, but she was a dear friend. And Lori, thank you. I had a moment. Anyway, she was a dear friend, and she actually was going through a very difficult time during the time when I was getting ready for my daughter's wedding. And I said to her, listen, I can't be on this phone. I was literally on FaceTime for about 8 hours straight. And I said, I was at the end tail of getting things ready, and people were coming. It was a lot. And you know what? I said, I can't be there. She said, can you still be there by FaceTime? And every once in a while she would say, Mary, and I said, I'm here. And I would go back to putting myself silent. But she could see me as I was working and I was doing all the things. She felt like she wasn't alone. I think that we don't realize the importance of having people feel like they're not alone and having people feel as if they are cared for. Elvis could have brought a lot of camera crew with him. He could have brought the news media. He chose not to do it. And he often did things, often. You got to get past the jumpsuits and all that. You got to look at the man. He often did things without anybody knowing he did it because he just wanted to give. And you know what? We can do that ourselves. And sometimes we have to do it in small amounts. But do you have a neighbor of yours that is kind of maybe older? Go to Sam's Club and pick up their chickens. They go for $4.98. And stop off and take a couple of chickens to several people that maybe you're going through a difficult time. And this way they could have a chicken, and maybe they could heat up some frozen vegetables and some rice and something, and they've got a dinner. That, hi Don, that is something. Asking for help and is something that I think we all struggle with. Very true. If you don't ask for help, nobody is able to offer it to us, and there's a lot of gain from offering the help too. Absolutely. Go volunteer someplace. Go to your local nursing home and see if you can volunteer to just talk to somebody. Um, Yep, he didn't. He spent it all. Well, on just a little side note, I do believe that Elvis was struggling with actually bipolar. I know that's a lot to say, but if you listen, you look a lot about his life and who he was. I think he was undiagnosed bipolar. I think it was one of the things that he was struggling with. I do believe that. But he also realized how much he was blessed with, and he just couldn't help it. If he saw somebody that needed a house or a car or a wheelchair, he just wanted to give. He just wanted to give. He didn't want anybody to suffer. He knew what that was like. He was dirt poor, and he came from nothing to something. And that's just a little side note, but that's my belief if you look at it enough. At times, the silence of being alone was too loud, but I just could not leave. I will forever be thankful for her for that. So, I think, there's the first part. When I refused to leave my house for 2 years, my best friend would really sit on the phone with me thoughtfully throughout the day. Sometimes we would talk and sometimes we wouldn't. Absolutely. When my grandmother did not want to leave her house, it took her brother-in-law to call her on the phone and say, Dan, you need to leave. She was in her 90s. And we literally spent 2 weeks. My mother was just agonizing about this day coming because we had a moving truck and we literally, people from our church, and my mother just walked in and said, "Today's the day." And she literally just took her purse and my grandmother and took her in the car, and they left. And we were the crew that came in and took everything, started getting everything ready and everything done and your bed out, all that kind of stuff. But she left her house as it was, and that was hard. But we had to do it because it was what was best for her, and it was what was best for my mother, whether she realized it or not at the time. But let's not forget about caring about each other. Let's not forget about connection. Let's not forget about helping each other. Please, please. Let's not forget about that. Let's not forget about connecting. And I'm really seeing that as something that I think we all need to realize needs to be something that we need to work on for our own mental well-being. That lighthouse money, I'm going to keep talking about it a little bit, because I really want people to come in and be encouraged by it. And it's just a time to really have the magic happen within the chat. And we listen to beautiful music and see lighthouse pictures. I'd be willing to put up, some of the people's animals they have if they want to send it to them. But I want to see people starting to make connections where it counts, right in that chat. If you want me to talk about the first thing that needs to be on that list, connection and journaling. Those are the two things. Together, man, you become unstoppable. If you have connection and you have journaling, whew, absolutely. Beautiful thoughtful discussion. Well, I just that they're going, what do I talk about today? And it was the light bulb moment in the therapist who goes, oh, I know why. I wanted to just, I don't care what you're dealing with. I've been dealing with fibromyalgia since 2020, 2020, 2013, 11 years. When you wake up in pain every day, it tears on you. And I said to my therapist, I'm going through an angry spell with my fibromyalgia. I want to tell it where to go. She said, okay. I've accepted it, but there's times I get myself tail end up angry with it. And I'd like to chuck it across the nearest lake I possibly can. And I think that if you're dealing with something like that, there is times where you go through cycles of having pain and difficulty, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can go through those, but this is where, when you're kind of going through this, the thing we tend to do is kind of, when we're struggling, don't we all just go in a corner? Don't we just escape from connection? We need to run to it, guys. You guys got to run to the connection. That's the important part. And I'm glad Shades of Gray. If you go check out, I've done 2 Lighthouse Mondays. I did one yesterday. You go check that out. You'll kind of see how it is. Now, I did come on just by microphone towards the last half an hour, 45 minutes of it, which we're not normally going to do. But the first hour and a half, it kind of gives you an idea. And I think that'll grow. And like I've said, check out our Lighthouse Beacon group, because it's all about connection. It's all about connecting, and we're all beacons of light. And we can be there for support and connection, and that's the purpose of it. Let's be there. And I've always said, if anybody within the group says, or whether even in the lifeboat group, the Facebook group, if somebody just says, hey, Mary Jones, can you go ahead and turn on the lighthouse? If we can turn on the lighthouse, we will definitely turn on the lighthouse. We'll turn it on if that's where y'all need to connect. I'm telling you, put that connection tool right in your toolbox. But then start filling it with all these things. Get a list going. And then when you're struggling, the key part of it is, when you're in a funk, go to that list. And it's okay to say, all I can do today is do this. That's all I can manage. It could be as simple as go smell a flower, go smell a rose. I know it sounds silly. Go draw. Watch your favorite TV show. Do something, right? Do something. Do whatever it is and run to that. Have a list of 100, have a list of 200, and you have them so that when you need to do, just like when Tommy needs to do a watch, he goes to his toolbox and he finds something within that toolbox to fix the watch. So run to the toolbox and say, okay, well, I can do this. Well, maybe it's to instead of making pasta with the rice, you do making rice with the chicken, you do pasta. Or you do this, you do something else. So change up a recipe, do something, go to that list and say, I'm in a funk. What can I pull from my toolbox to get out of it? It's that simple, y'all. It's that simple. We don't have to overcomplicate it. Sometimes we tend to. We do not have to overcomplicate it. All we have to do is we don't have to see the entire staircase. We only have to see the first step. All we had to do. And some of you that have lurked in the chat that decided to take that first step and come out of lurking, congratulations. You don't have to see the whole staircase. You just need to see the first step. That's all. I think it's a great one. I love that one. Sometimes we take on just a little bit too much to chew. Yep, the stages of with fiber, anger, sadness, and denial. And I've accepted it. Just every once in a while, I'm allowed to get mad at it. And don't be afraid of your emotions. Please don't. Don't be afraid of them. I need to get off here in a minute. Don't be afraid of them. And the other thing that I'm going to say is emotions are fleeting. But we always use this analogy here on my channel anyway, is when the emotions get too much, remember you have a trunk. Pick out your favorite car. This one happens to be a pink Cadillac. Pick up your favorite car with a trunk. And you can have a whole fleet. Hi, Alfonso. You can pick out a whole fleet, right, of cars. And you can go ahead and put them with different things. Take your emotions, open the trunk, put them in the trunk, and lock it up. Go back to it when you're in front of a friend, or when you're in front of a friend or someone or a counselor, or in your journal. If emotions and something you're going through gets too much, you have the permission to lock it away in the trunk till you're ready to deal with it. Give yourself that permission when life gets too overwhelming. Give yourself permission to put your emotions in the trunk and come back to it when you're ready to deal with it. It does not have to be now. It can be when you're in front of a friend. It can be when you're in front of a counselor. You can have a whole fleet of cars if you want. And then when you get done with that, you can sell that and get a new car. Because if we think in life we're going to never have anything happen, we're sadly mistaken. We're going to have things happen. And that's where we have to go back to the toolbox. And we have to get things in our toolbox and find ways to deal with whatever we need to deal with. And that's what we need to do. Now, at 4:40 Eastern Time, 1:40 boat time, and 3:40 Central Time, Need the Meaning will be coming on. So that will be your next connection point, is Need the Meaning after this. But I just really encourage you, and if everybody can also do me a favor and go and give us go over and subscribe to Alfonso's channel. I just dropped the link for that. He was the one that has donated the music for Lighthouse Monday. It is beautiful. And I'm telling you what, it's just absolutely It's touching my soul, that's for sure. And then tonight, don't forget that I will be um, um, on tonight at 12:30 to fill in for Kristen Melinda, as she won't be back until Thursday. So we want to just give her the support. So put on the notification for that tonight. That will be live on my channel at 12:30 Eastern time. And I hope to see you here on Blessed to Crochet as we do a late night chat with us, and we talk and enjoy and everything. So thank you so much for joining myself and of course all the boat crew as well. Thank you. Have a great day. And let's talk more about this. Let's come up with some ideas. About I'll put a little post in the Lifeboat and the Facebook group that people can start putting ideas that they may have about ways to boost your mental health. We often think about it. Yes, often, absolutely, Alfonso. We often think about physical and boosting that, lifting the weights, but we need to do it too for our own mental health. We need to boost those weights too mentally, and these are things that we can do, but we can certainly do it by getting a lot of other people's tips, and I'll be looking forward to hearing from them about those, and I think that will be great as well. So thank you. Well, I'm glad living for now. I'm glad that you feel here's the thing, comfortable and safe to come out of your shell here, and the Lifeboat and all the other ripples that are coming out, honest to goodness, or safe places to come. And that's what we want to do. That's what we want to make sure that happens. And I'm glad that you came out of your shell and you felt comfortable enough to come out of your shell. And I'm glad that you enjoyed this. And again, thank you for being here. And after this is over, Cinderella's glass slipper. Well, thank you. I see you lurking, but you did good. You came out of your shell. Good for your mental. See, by coming out of your shell, you're lifting them weights. We're all lifting the weights today, right? A little bit. We're lifting those mental weights today, and we all need to do that. So have a great day. I'm going to go lift my mental weights with a crochet hook, and I'm going to go watch a movie. I don't know what movie yet, but I'm going to go watch a movie and just relax and everything. But again, need the meetings on at in a little bit, and it will be simulcasting on the Lifeboat, as well as go check out to come back tonight at 12:30, and we'll do a late night chat there from my friend Kristen, so people don't get too deprived of that. But it was a delight to spend time with you all. Thank you for hopping in. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day, and keep boosting that mental health and start putting tools within your toolbox. And the most important thing we always say is stay connected. It truly does make a huge difference. Bye, y'all.